Okay, for problem number 4. So for this example, we have here a retaining wall shown. This is our figure. So we have to determine the Rankine's active force per unit length of soil, PA, and then the location of the resultant from the uh, bottom. Location of resultant from the bottom ito, letter B. Okay? So we have here a figure. We are given a retaining wall with a depth of 6 meters and the sandbag fill having a dry unit weight of 15.5 kilonewton per meter and meron tayong saturated unit weight which is 19.0 kilonewton meter. So we have a groundwater table at 3 meter below our ground surface. So meron tayong groundwater table dito. And with this condition, pag may groundwater table tayo dito, the above and below the ground water table is also given yung ating angle of friction from above and below our ground table is also given, which is actually different. Meron tayong 30 degrees sa taas and meron tayong 36 degrees sa baba. Okay? So we also have a value of cohesion which is equal to 0. Kasi nga yung backfill natin is sand. Meron din tayong additional dito na load which is equal to 15 kilonewton per meter square. Okay? So for us to determine yung Rankine active force natin, so mas magandang mag-drawing tayo ng pressure distribution diagram para mas madali natin siyang ma-solve. Okay? And to draw yung ating pressure distribution, we have to calculate our active pressure for both yung ating soil and yung ating water. Kasi nga meron tayong ground water table. Kaya we need to solve the equivalent active pressure force nung water. So, for the figure, meron tayo ditong pressure distribution for soil and meron din tayong pressure distribution dapat sa ating tubig kasi meron nga tayong groundwater. And of course, dahil meron din tayong additional load here, meron din tayong equivalent pressure distribution diagram dito sa ating load, yung additional load natin. Okay? So, we need to solve first our K sub A, yung ating factor. So, K sub A, yung ating lateral earth pressure coefficient. Meron tayong K sub A sa taas, meron tayong K sub A sa baba. Ito, since magkaiba tayo ng angle of internal friction. So, let's say, K sub A doon sa taas is K sub 1. So, this is sa top ng groundwater. So, K sub 1 is equal to 1 minus sine phi prime over 1 plus sine. So, remember, this is active, so Ka. And then, yung lateral earth pressure natin sa baba ng ating groundwater, that is equal to, parehas pa rin yung kanilang equation. So, that is equal to 30. So, 1 plus sine of 30. And then, sa baba, we have 1 minus sine of 36 and meron tayong 1 plus sine of 36. So, solving the value of our lateral earth pressure coefficient from the top and bottom of our groundwater, makukuha natin, we have here 1/3 and we have here 0.2596. So, that's our K sub A. So, after solving our K sub A, we can now solve for the active pressure for the layer so that we can draw our pressure distribution diagram. So, unahin natin yung ating soil. Okay. Solving for our active pressure, say at H is equal to 0, our pressure is also equal to 0. So, ito kasing load na ito is meron tayong iba yung pressure distribution niya. So, hihiwalay natin siya. So, yung unang isosolve natin is the pressure distribution ng ating soil, yung soil natin. Okay? So, at H is equal to 0, yung ating pressure is also 0. So, meron tayong 0 dito. So, pagdating dito, so at H at 3, okay? So, at H at 3, that is until doon sa ating groundwater table. Since we have a groundwater table, we must consider the pressure at the upper and at the lower layer of our groundwater table. Kasi magkaiba, kasi meron nga tayong groundwater table, doon magkaiba yung pressure niyan sa taas at sa baba. Say we have at 3 meter. So at H is equal to 3 meter. Say this is at upper. So upper. So sa taas ng ating groundwater ito at 3 meter. Dalawa kasing makukuha natin dito at H is equal to 3 meter. Yung isa, yung sa taas, and yung isa, yung sa just below yung ating groundwater. So, let's say at 3 meter, yung sa upper, that is the pressure, active pressure natin is equal to KA1. Since sa taas, yung KA1 natin ang gagamitin natin. And sa baba, yung KA2 yung gagamitin natin. Yung sa coefficient. So, KA1, gamma 1, and H1. So, let's say yung H1 natin is 3, yung H2 natin is 3. So, magkaiba yung taas at baba ng ating groundwater. So, substituting the value here, we have 1/3 unit weight 15.5 kilonewton meter cube. This is cube. 15.5 kilonewton cube, and we also have there meter cube because that is unit weight times the H1, which is 3 meters. So our value for our active pressure just above our groundwater table is equal to 15.5 kilonewton per meter square. So meron tayong value here just above ng groundwater natin, meron tayong 15.5. Okay. So, at H is equal to 3 meter pa rin, this time doon sa lower. So, just below our groundwater. So, ito. So, at lower, that is the active pressure is equal to K sub A2 multiplied by the unit weight of 1 and height of 1. So, ang mag-iba lang dito is yung K sub 2 natin. Kasi hanggang sa 3 meter, ang unit weight pa rin na gagamitin natin is yung unit weight sa taas. Pati yung height. Kasi that is unit weight times height. So, ito pa rin yung unit weight. Yung soil pa rin dito sa taas. However, yung ating lateral earth pressure coefficient yung nasa baba na, yung just below our groundwater table. So that is equal to 0.2596 multiplied by 15.5, that is kilonewton per meter cube, times yung height natin, which is 3 meters. So our pressure just below our groundwater table is equal to 12.07 kilonewton meter squared. So meron tayong 12. So let's say andito yung 12. So ganyan siya. So this is 12.07. So, lumiit siya, 15.5 tapos naging 12.7. So, paganyan yung ating diagram. Okay? And at h is equal to 6, at h is equal to 6 naman, kasi andito na tayo. So, dito na tayo. At h is equal to 6. So, we have the active pressure at h is equal to 6 meter. Okay. So, at K is equal to 6 meter natin, ang K sub A natin, our effective lateral earth pressure coefficient, yung coefficient natin, is equal to this value. This one, yung K sub 2. Kasi just below nung ating soil, just below our ground water. So, that is equal to yung active pressure natin at H is equal to 6 meter. That is K sub 2 unit weight of 1 plus height of 1 plus K sub 2 unit weight of 2 H of 2. Okay. So, saan galing itong unang equation natin? Ito. So, itong value is actually this value. So, kailangan nating i-add yung pressure due to this backfill or due to this soil. So, mula dito, papunta doon. And since yung 6 meter mula dito sa taas, papunta doon sa ating 6 meter. Diba? So, yung first equation natin, ito, is the first 3 meter. And then, yung next equation natin is the yung susunod na 3 meter. And then, na-solve natin itong una, 12.07. I-add natin yung pressure because of this backfill. So, kaya at H is equal to 6 meter. Hindi siya 3 meter. 6 meter. Kasi, ang i-consider natin is from the ground, tapos pababa. Okay? So, substituting the values, meron na actually tayong value dito, di ba? Yung 12.07. Plus, yung K sub 2 natin, that is equal to 0.2596 times the unit weight. Ang gagamitin nating unit weight dito is the effective unit weight, hindi yung saturated. So, yung saturated unit weight natin is equal to 19. I-minus natin yung unit weight ng water para makuha natin yung effective unit weight. Kasi effective yung gagamitin natin dito. That is due to the soil only. Kasi iba yung pressure diagram ng water natin. Okay. So, to get the effective stress, effective unit weight, yung saturated unit weight natin, i-minus natin yung unit weight ng water. That is 9.81 kasi in kilonewton meter cube tayo. Pag in English, iba yung i-minus natin. That is not 9.81. That is 62.4 pag naka-English tayo. And then, yung H2 natin is equal to 3. So, solving our active pressure at H is equal to 6 meter, ang value natin dyan is 19.23 kilonewton per meter squared. So, meron na tayong value at H that is 19.23. So, from here, magiging 19.23 daw. This is a straight line. So, we have 19.23. 23. So, yan yung ating pressure diagram due to the soil. I-add natin yung pressure diagram due to our water. Okay. So, at H is equal to 0, yung water natin, 0 pa rin siya kasi wala pa tayong tubig. At H is equal to 3, just above 0 pa rin siya. Diba? Just below, tsaka lang tayo magkakaroon ng pressure diagram due to water kasi andito pa lang yung groundwater table natin. So, let's say at H. So, for the water, at H is equal to 6 meter. Yung pressure ng water is equal to the unit weight of water times the height of the water. That is the pressure ng water. Wala tayong coefficient dito, lateral earth pressure. Hindi siya, kasi ito, water siya, hindi siya soil. So, yung K values natin, hindi siya applicable dito sa water. So, yung pressure lang ng water is equal to the unit weight of water, that is equal to 9.81 kilonewton per meter cube. Multiplied our height ng water natin is 3 meter. So, yung height ng water natin. So, yung value natin dito is equal to 29.43 kilonewton meter square. So, yung magiging pressure diagram natin due to our water is equal to 29.43. So, ito yung 29.43. That is due to the water. Plus, meron pa tayong i-add that is due to our load dito sa taas. Diba? Yung uniform load natin. So, due to this uniform load, so solve ulit natin yung ating pressure diagram due to this uniform load. Okay? So, due to the uniform load given, diba? Given yung ating active pressure equation. So, at H is equal to 0, yung active pressure natin is equal to the Q, yan yung ating load times the K sub A1. Yan yung ating coefficient. So, ito yung equation, given equation natin for the additional load doon sa ating soil or yung sa ating backfill, yung uniform load natin. So, that is equal to 15, diba? Q is 15 kilonewton per meter cube. And then we have 1/3 times per unit length of mag-multiply tayo ng 1 meter. So, per unit ito. So, yung pressure natin here is equal to 5 kilonewton per meter squared. So, this is actually the same doon sa ating at H is equal to 3. Diba? At H is equal to 3. Just above nung groundwater table natin at upper, yung ating pressure is equal to, parehas dito, diba? That is equal to 5 kilonewton per meter square. That is QK sub A1. And at H is equal to 3, doon sa ating lower, so just below our groundwater table, our pressure, active pressure is equal to 1/3. Yung Q natin is 15 in kilonewton meter cube times our K sub 2, yung sa lower natin is equal to 0.2596 multiplied by per meter is equal to, this is equal to 3.894. Okay? So, ito na yung magiging value natin just below our groundwater table. And at H is equal to 6, our active pressure is equal to QK sub 2. So, pare-parehas lang yung ating equation for our active pressure due to our uniform load or due to the additional load ng ating soil or the backfill. So, Q times K sub A2 is actually equal to this value, that is equal to 3.894 kilonewton meter squared. Okay. So, we have 553 point. So, meron tayong 5 at 0, 5 din at just above ng groundwater table natin, and we have 3.894. We also have 3.894 dito. Okay? So, yan na yung magiging pressure distribution diagram natin. So, we can now solve for our active force per unit length of soil, yung resultant natin. Okay? So, say, this is our P1. This is our, so it's easier to solve for the resultant if we divide this into one triangle and one rectangle. So this is, say this is P2. And say this is P3, yung itong triangle. And for the water, say this is P4. And say yung resultant natin, this is P5. And say yung resultant natin dito sa rectangle na ito is P6. So we need to solve these forces, yung P1, P2, P3, P4, P5, and P6. So that is just the area ng ating diagram, di ba? So yung P1 natin, dito is equal to, that is triangle 1/2, yung value natin, ito yung value natin, 15, di ba? Itong triangle na ito, 15 times the height, which is 3. So, 15.5 times the height, 3. So, our value here is equal to 23.25 kilonewton meter square. That is P1. P2, what will be our value for P2? So, yung P2 natin is rectangular. So, we just have to multiply yung ating active pressure doon sa ating height. So, yung active pressure natin dito is equal to 12.07. So, that is 12.07 times yung height natin na 3. Kasi ito yung area natin dito. Okay? So, yung P2 natin, that is 12.07 times yung height natin is 3. So, yung value natin dito is 36.21 kilonewton meter square. And for our P3, that is also triangle. Diba? Ito. Triangle tayo dito. So, yung P3. So, yung triangle na ito, yung value natin, that is 9.23 minus 12.07. Yan yung value dito. Right? Then multiplied by the height. Okay? So, we have, for P3, we have 1/2, 19.23 minus 12.07 times 3. So, yung P3 natin dito is equal to 10.815. This is in a week. That is 0.23. So, we have 10.74 pala. So, kindly check if my calculation is correct. That is 10.74 kilonewton a meter squared. Okay. That is our P3. Okay. Now, let's solve for the P4. Yung P4 natin. So, ano ba yung P4 natin? That is also triangle. So, 29.43. So, that is 1/2 of 29.43 times yung height natin is 3. So, yung P4 natin is equal to that is equal to 44.145. 44.145 kilonewton meter squared. Okay? And for our P5. So, yung P5 natin, is a rectangle. Pati yung P6 natin rectangle. So, for our P5, that is 5 times yung height, which is 3. That is equal to 15 kilonewton meter squared. And for our P6, rectangle pa rin siya. That is 3.894 times 3. Yung P6 natin is equal to 11.682 in kilonewton meter squared. So, we have P6, P5, yung P4 natin. Ito yung pressures natin. P3, yung resultant natin, in P2. Yan yung resultant natin. So, based on our pressure diagram. So, ito yung pressure diagram natin. So, nakuha na natin yung resultant na pressure natin, P1, P2, P3, P4, P5, and P6. So, our Rankine active force per unit length of soil now is equal to what? That is equal to, mali pala yung unit natin dito. That should be per meter lang ito. Kasi magmumultiply tayo. This is 15.5 kilonewton meters squared times 3 meter. Magka-cancel yung isang meter natin. So, this is in meter, not in meter squared. So, kilonewton per meter. So, per unit length. So, dapat kilonewton per meter. So, yung magiging sagot na natin for letter A, so we just need to add yung resultant natin, P1, P2 hanggang sa P6. So, for yung total Rankine natin, yung Rankine active force PA natin per unit weight of soil is now equal to P1 plus P2 plus P3 and P6. So, if you add all our active forces, yung our resultant forces, ang magiging Rankine active force na natin ngayon, PA, is now equal to 141.03 kilonewton meter. So, kindly check this if my calculation is correct. So, that is equal to 141.03 kilonewton meter. Okay? So, That is the answer for letter A. What about for letter B? Sabi natin sa letter B, we have to determine the location of the resultant. Paano natin madidetermine yung location ng resultant? So, yung gagawin natin dito, yung resultant natin per shape ng ating distribution is i-moment natin siya dito sa ating base. Diba? So, pag nag-moment tayo dito, makukuha natin yung ating resultant, location ng ating resultant. So, yung PA total natin, yung PA times the resultant is equal to the moment of this P1, P2, and so on to our base. Diba? Pag mag-moment tayo dyan. So, for our location, let's say Z, ito yung location natin of our resultant. So, yung resultant natin, PA times Z, is actually equal to the moment of P1, P2, P3, P4, P5, and P6 doon sa ating base. Okay? So, our Z now is equal to the summation of M doon sa base natin over PA. So, yung PA natin, ito na yung value natin, 141.03. So, we need to get the moment at the base. So, say for our P1. So, that is yung P1 natin, 23.25. Diba? So, yung P1 natin, 23.25. Andito yung P1 natin. Pag nag-moment tayo dito, ano yung distance niyan? That is 3 plus 1/3 of 3. So, yung distance niya is 4. So, pagpunta natin dito sa P2, yung value ng P2 multiplied by the distance, pag nag-moment ka dito sa base, that is equal to 1/2 of 3 kasi andito yung centroid niya, that is 1.5. Yung P3 naman natin, i-multiply natin siya, andito yung centroid, that is 1/3 of 3, so times 1. Pati yung P4, kasi 3 meters yung height natin, yung centroid natin dito is h over 3 from the bottom. So, times 1. And then, we have P5 multiplied by the distance. We have 3 dito plus the 1/2 of the centroid ng ating rectangle dito. That is 3 plus 1.5, 4.5. So, P5 times pag nag-moment ka dito. So, ang distance mo dito is 4.5. And yung sa P6, ang distance mo dito is 1.5. That is half of our height. Okay? So, just need to write that. So, yung P1 natin multiplied the distance from the bottom, that is 4, plus yung P2 natin, that is 36.2142 times yung sa distance niya from the base, 1.5, plus yung P3 natin. Okay, wait, mali ata yung sinusulat ko. Again. So, yung P1 natin, 23.25 times yung distance natin, which is 4. And yung P2 natin, that is equal to 36.21. And yung distance ng P2 natin from our base is equal to 1.5. Plus, yung P3 natin, that is 10.74 times the distance is 1. Plus, yung P4 natin, that is equal to 4.145 times yung distance niya from the base, that is 1. Plus, yung P5 natin, which is 15, times yung distance from the base, that is equal to 4.5. Plus yung P6 natin, which is 11.682, times yung distance from the base, that is 1.5. So, yan yung moment at base over our PA, which is equal to 141.03. Okay? So, our location now is equal to, so kindly solve this if yung value natin is 287.22. So, paki-solve nyo ito. Ito, ang unit natin dito is kilonewton per meter. Diba? Tapos, ito, ang unit natin, meter. Okay? So, ang magiging unit natin dito sa taas is equal to, magka-cancel yung meter, kilo, newton. And then, over that is over 141.03 kilonewton per meter. So, magka-cancel yung kilonewton natin. Yung value ng ating location now of our resultant is equal to 2.04 in meter. So, ito yung value ng location of our resultant active force. That is equal to 2.04. Okay?